تسليم على سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين، وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. يقول الله عز وجل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. As it is the month of Ramadan, and Alhamdulillah, it's already 13, 14 fasts inside. We've completed half of the Quran already. Most of the masajid have already completed half of the Quran. Here, inshallah, we try to make the most of our time. We try to make the most of our time because this is a time where we have to take advantage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us bonuses upon bonuses upon bonuses. These are extra benefits. Okay? A person's getting rewarded 70 times more, 700 times, more than 700 times more in this month of Ramadan for every single good action that a person does. So a person must not let time pass without at least one Subhanallah, at least one Allahu Akbar, at least one Alhamdulillah. Okay? We have to say Allah, for every single thing, whatever happens to us, good or bad, we have to say Alhamdulillah. Why? Because everything we owe to Allah. Everything we owe to Allah. Anyway, inshallah, we're going to continue with the ahadith on the chapter of fasting, the kitab At-Targhib wa Tarhib by Imam Hafiz al-Mundhiri, one of the greatest huffaz of hadith in the 6th century. وعن سهل بن سعد رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن في الجنة بابا يقال له الريان. Sa'ad ibn Sahal ibn Sa'ad, one of the companions of the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, in Jannah there is a gate called Rayyan. يَدْخُلُ مِنْهُ الصَّائِمُونَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Only those that used to fast in this world. Now this may refer to just the fard fasts, and it may also refer to those that are fasting optionally, like we know Mondays and Thursdays, like we know the Ayyamul Bid and many other Sunnah fasts. Okay? لا يدخل منه أحد غيرهم. No one else will enter inside through that gate of Jannah. That gate called Rayyan, no one else will enter there. فإذا دخلوا أغلق. And when they enter, those that used to fast in this world for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, for the pleasure of Allah, for only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be happy with them, once they go in, it will be locked. It will be locked. فَلَمْ يَدْخُلْ مِنْهُ أَحَدٌ. No one else will be allowed and admitted to go through that door ever again. Okay? This is in Bukhari, Muslim, Nasa'i and At-Tirmidhi. Then wazada وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ لَمْ يَظْمَأْ أَبَدًا. Imam Tirmidhi in his narration, he says, whoever goes inside that gate, he will never ever experience thirst. He will never ever experience thirst, because a person that is fasting during the day, he normally experiences thirst. وابن خزيمة في صحيحه إلا أنه قال فإذا دخل أحدهم أغلق من دخل شرب ومن شرب لم يظمأ أبدا. In the version of Ibn Khuzaymah is another Sahih, is another book called Sahih Ibn Khuzaymah. It's not to the grading of Bukhari and Muslim, but it is under them. فإذا دخل أحدهم, when one of you enters through that gate of Rayyan, أغلق. Again, it will be closed off. It will be locked completely. There's no way that no one. وَمَنْ دَخَلَ شَرِبًا. And whoever enters that gate will drink water from the rivers of Jannah. And وَمَنْ شَرِبَ لَمْ يَظْمَأْ أَبَدًا. And whoever drinks from the waters of paradise will never ever experience thirst. In this world, we are limited. Our sleeping capacity, our eating capacity, our drinking capacity, our physical capacity, every single thing that you think as a human, we are limited. Our vision, our hearing, our knowledge, every single aspect of a human life is limited. In Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make those faculties unlimited. Will make them unlimited. So in Jannah, you will not experience these weaknesses that we have in this world, like sleep, like eating, like drinking. You will only eat and drink because of desire. Okay? You will not drink and eat because you need to eat, because of hunger, like in this world. وعن ابي هريره رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اغزوا تغنموا وصوموا تصحوا وسافروا تستغنوا رواه الطبراني في الأوسط ورواته ثقات. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, go to battle, participate in jihad, and you will get booty. Booty is the spoil of war. وَصُومُوا تَصِحُّوا, fast, continuously fast. This is the order, sumu, okay? This is the order, amr. Keep on fasting, meaning regularly fast. We only fast when the month of Ramadan comes, unfortunately. This is why we feel slightly better, isn't it? 13, 14 days and we're already feeling alhamdulillah. But the moment Ramadan goes, we go onto another track, as if we lose the same train track. Okay? We need to be in the same direction. وَصُومُوا تَصِحُّوا, fast and your health will be much better. Now this fasting is also talking about eating less. Eating less. What we do is at iftar time, we eat 5-star buffets. And I told you, this is completely against the sunnah. This is completely against the sunnah. This will destroy your health instead of aiding your health and helping your health and supporting your health. وَسَافِرُوا تَسْتَغْنُوا, and a person who travels a lot, he will gain money. He will gain a lot of wealth because he will gain experience. He will gain experience. And experience is something which cannot be bought with money. Experience is something which you cannot buy with money. وعن جابر, this hadith is also authentic in Tabarani's Awsat. وعن جابر رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الصيام جنة يستجن بها العبد من النار رواه أحمد بإسناد حسن والبيهقي. This hadith is in Musnad of Imam Ahmad and Sunan of Imam al-Bayhaqi. On the authority of Jabir, the Mufti of the Sahaba, Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that fasting is a shield. What type of shield is it? It shields a slave from the fire of Jahannam. A person who fasts gets the protection from the fire of Jahannam. So a person in no way, shape or form must leave out fasting unless he's in such circumstances which he is unable to fast at all. Impossible. In that case, khalas, he has an excuse, he has a valid Shari'i excuse to break that fast. Okay? But in general circumstances, like when the hot days were there a couple of years ago, everyone was saying, oh, my son's doing GCSEs, my daughter's doing GCSEs, can he break the fast? Can she break the fast? These are flimsy excuses. These are flimsy excuses. And this is what you're inbreeding inside your children. This is what you're putting inside, you're instilling inside your children. That your dunya comes first and then your akhirah. Your dunya comes first and then your deen. This is why we find our generation slowly changing in a different way. Why? Because of parents. Parents are the biggest problems. Dealing with the parents is the hardest. Parents are the one that don't want deen for the children, unfortunately. Many. They want dunya over deen. They destroy their children's dunya and then they cry afterwards. When they make the hundreds of thousands of pounds through haram, then they cry. What's the point of crying? Your son's not getting married at the age of 40. Your daughter's not getting married at the age of 35, 40, 50. Don't blame anyone but yourself. It's the tarbiyah that you gave. It's the tarbiyah that you gave. It's the nurturing and the upbringing that you gave. It's the places that you put your child into. So we have to be careful. It's not like the days in the past where you had uncles and sasas and hufas telling you off. No, there's no one to tell you off now. They won't listen to your father. They won't listen to father. They won't listen to brother anymore. This is not a time that we're living in. Okay? You have to be very careful in where you put your children. You have to be very careful with yourself, where you put your own self. If you put yourself in a place where there's haram taking place 24/7, in an office place where there's miniskirts, what's going to happen? Automatically you're going to lose your deen, bhai. Automatically you're going to end up in zina, some way or another. Okay? Don't put yourself in a place where you endanger yourself. Don't put yourself inside the lion's mouth and then say, I'll be saved. I'll save myself somehow. Like Nuh alayhi salam's son said a couple of days ago, we read in Taraweeh, isn't it? Then Nuh alayhi salam said, La asim al yawma min amrillahi illa man rahim. You're going to go and climb the mountain, you think you're going to be saved today. Today there's no asim. There's no protection, there's nothing. You're going to die. There's no chance you're going to save yourself. These mountains and everything are going to go in this flood. Nuh alayhi salam knew because he had wahy. Anyway, the point is, save yourselves before you get destroyed. Before you destroy others as well. Before you destroy others. Yes. So fasting is one of the greatest methods to get good health. And this is referring to eating less. Eating less as well. Not just the actual practical fasting plus eating less. Then the second one is protection from the fire. Yes. وعن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الصيام والقرآن يشفعان للعبد يوم القيامة. Abdullah bin Umar, the Mufti of Medina. Mufti of Medina. Yes, you have to know this Sahaba. You have to know this Sahaba. Abdullah bin Umar, the son of Umar radiallahu anhu. Look at the father and look at the son. When you have a father like that, you have a son like this. You understand? When you have a mufti like this, the son will become a great mufti as well, inshallah. قال الصيام والقرآن يشفعان. Fasting and Quran will make shafa'a on the day of judgment. Will make shafa'a. What is shafa'a? You know, when you have a problem, where do you go? To the court. And then who do you get? A lawyer. Fasting and Quran is your lawyer. Fasting and Quran is your lawyer on the day of judgment. يشفعان للعبد يوم القيامة يقول الصيام أي ربي منعته الطعام والشهوة. Fasting will say on the day of judgment, so it will come in a physical form. It will come in a literal physical form. And it will say, I prevented him from food and from his sexual desires. I prevented him because something which was allowed. Food, drink, sexual intercourse with your wife, allowed. But when you're fasting, it's not allowed. No drinking, no eating, no intimacy. I prevented him from eating and from his desires. فَشَفِّعْنِي فِيهِ. Accept my intercession in regards to him. Now, when fasting makes this intercession, do you think Allah is not going to let you off? Allah will let you off. Allah will let you off. Even if you are destined for Jahannam, Allah will let you off. Why? Because fasting is your lawyer on that day. On that day. وَيَقُولُ الْقُرْآنُ مَنَعْتُهُ النَّوْمَ بِاللَّيْلِ فَشَفِّعْنِي فِيهِ قَالَ فَيَشْفَعَانِ. And Quran will say to those who stayed up the night, practicing the Quran, reciting the Quran in Tahajjud Salah, something which most of us miss. We have a long night, alhamdulillah. Long night. You can't do long qira'at, a hafiz of the Quran. Do your small qira'at, but stand in khushu'. Stand in khushu'. Do long sajdas. If you can't do long standing, do long sajdas. Read Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, and make all the du'as that you have. All the du'as, all the cries that you have inside you, put it out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the time. This is the time to give. So Quran will say, I prevented him from sleep. From the most precious thing a person has at night is sleep. He woke up at the darkness of the night when everyone was sleeping. And he used to read me. He used to be my best friend. He didn't care about anyone else. He used to read me. He used to recite me. He used to ponder upon me. This is the Quran speaking. Quran coming as a lawyer on the day of judgment. And then it is said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said both of them, the intercession would be accepted. Who? The fasting as well as Quran. Both of the intercession will definitely be accepted. Okay, this hadith is in Ahmad, Tabarani, and Tabarani Kabir, and Ahmad and Tabarani Kabir. معجم الكبير of الطبراني. وعن سلمة بن قيصر رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من صام يوما ابتغاء وجه الله باعده الله من جهنم كبعد غراب طار وهو فرخ حتى مات هرما. الله أكبر. رواه أبو يعلى والبيهقي. مسند of Abu Ya'la and Sunan of Al-Bayhaqi. Salamat ibn Qaysar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever fasts one day seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only one day, ba'adahu Allahu min Jahannam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will distance the person from the fire of Jahannam, the distance of a crow. Why did they choose a crow? Why did Rasulullah choose a crow? Because the crow, he's very strong and he can go far, long distances compared to other birds. Since the time it was a baby, the crow, that since the time it was born until the time it keeps on flying and flying and flying and flying until it dies out of old age. And crow is one of the birds that dies last. It's got a long lifespan compared to other birds. Okay? So that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the example of a crow. That as a baby crow, until the time it dies, if it continues to fly, this is the amount of distance, meaning a huge distance. A person, when he fasts one day out of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will distance a very great distance. Allah will distance yourself from the fire of Jahannam in a very long, a very far place. That Jahannam will not be close to you, basically. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: لو أن رجلا صام يوما تطوعا ثم أعطي ملء الأرض ذهبا لم يستوفي ثوابه دون يوم الحساب. رواه أبو يعلى والطبراني. Here Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that if a person fasts voluntarily one day, this is not a fard fast. We're doing fard fast now, isn't it? Fard fast is much greater. Much greater. This is just to understand what a nafal fast is. Nafal, sunnah fast. Yes? If a person, ثُمَّ أُعْطِيَ مِلْءَ الْأَرْضِ ذَهَبًا, even if he were to be given the whole world, whole earth, everyone is fighting for money, isn't it? That's what we die for in this dunya. Brothers kill brothers, fathers kill sons, son kill father. This is what's happening, isn't it? The whole world in gold. This is not World Cup trophy, 24 karat gold. No. The whole world, the whole earth in gold will not be the same as one fast. One nafal fast. One nafal fast. It will not be equal. Even the whole world in gold will not be equal. Okay? So don't underestimate what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you in akhirah. Okay? We are Muslims, we live as Muslims, we die as Muslims. Then the next hadith. Here, it's a long hadith. عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعث أبا موسى على سرية في البحر. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, one of the great scholars from the Sahaba, again, another mufti, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he was on an expedition. He was sent out on ship, on sail. فبينما هم كذلك قد رفعوا الشراع في ليلة. In a dark night, a caller called out from nowhere. They didn't know where this voice was coming from. So this voice, what did he say? يا أهل السفينة كيفوا أخبركم بقضاء قضاه الله على نفسه. Oh, the people of the ship, stop. I will tell you something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed. So Abu Musa, he was the most senior out of all the companions on the ship. He said, say the truth, meaning if you are to say something about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed, we want to know. قال إن الله تبارك وتعالى قضى على نفسه أنه من أعطش نفسه له في يوم صائف سقاه الله يوم العطش. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed on himself that if a person goes through the extreme thirst on a long summer day, a day where there's extreme heat, and he goes through extreme thirst on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment will give him such a drink to drink on the day of judgment that he'll never ever experience thirst ever in his life. Meaning after that, in his next life, he will never experience thirst ever again. Rawahu al-Bazzaru bi isnadin hasan, inshallah. So those long fasts that we done, and those long fasts, don't be sad, okay? Those were the best fasts. That Abu Musa radiallahu anhu, look at this. Inna Allah ta'ala qada ala nafsihi annahu man attasha nafsahu lillahi في يوم حار كان حقا على الله أي عز وجل أن يرويه يوم القيامة. On the day of judgment, it will be a right upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him the best of drink in order for him not to ever experience thirst ever again. قال وكان أبو موسى يتوخى. Abu Musa radiallahu anhu, the mufti of the Sahaba here, the Yemeni mufti, he used to seek and look for the long days of fasting. And he used to seek these long days just to fast. Why? يَكَادُ الْإِنسَانُ يَنْسَلِخُ فِيهِ حَرًّا فَيَصُومُهُ. As if a person were to go out in that heat, his skin would peel off. 52 degrees heat. Saudi heat. 52 degrees heat. As if the skin would peel off. You could boil fried eggs in. You could fry the eggs on the tiles. As if skin would peel off. That's how hot it was. These days he would seek to fast. Nafal fast. This is talking about nafal fast. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq to do our fard fasts, firstly, properly, and then to go on to a regime after Ramadan where we fast Mondays and Thursdays at least, and the 3 days in the middle of the month. And that way, inshallah, at the bare minimum, we'd get the reward of the whole year. We'd get the reward of the whole year fasting, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب